Do you know, on an average, the new parents are spending at least 2 weeks of time to choose a name for their newborn baby or to-be born baby. And they are trying to choose a trendy name or unique name, and that name which resonates with their vibes. And when you are trying to choose a name for your child, you're investing so much time to see to it that you really like it. What about choosing a name for your company or for your brand? Should you not be thinking about it? So in this video, we'll be highlighting about how to choose a trademark. No, I'm going to highlight you about how not to choose a trademark, because here when it comes to business or a brand name, it has a global reach and you should be really aware of some of the consequences if you are going to choose the name. Trademark Registry actually has given you a lot of guidances on how not to choose a trademark. So I'm going to give you one by one all of this by giving an example so that you really understand. And when you're choosing a name for your company or for a brand, you really become aware of this and start choosing it. So let's start now. So the first and the foremost thing you should keep in your mind is you should not choose a descriptive name. When I say descriptive name, that is descriptive of the product or descriptive of the services that you're doing. For example, if I'm into a bakery business, I'm choosing soft and fluffy. Obviously, people can remember, right? You're trying to tell that your bread is soft and fluffy. So this is actually describing the product or the services that you're going to do. So any descriptive term which is going to describe the quality of your product cannot be registered. So don't try to choose in that way. Rather, we have to choose it in a different way, which I'll come in the last segment of this video. Next, I'll give you another example of this descriptive term itself. When you are running a courier company, just for example, you're telling fast and reliable. So what are you trying to convey? You're trying to say that I'm going to deliver it fast and reliable. This cannot be accepted as a brand name, which is unique, This is a very descriptive term. So what you have to do is choose your name which can be unique and it is not descriptive of the product. Now let's go to the second term, which is called generic terms. The government registry has been really telling everyone that generic names cannot be registered. But many of the entrepreneurs do not understand what is generic names. Generic names are something that is common to that particular industry alone. It's not common among all over the public, but it will be specific to that particular industry and that will be very commonly used there. So let me give you an example. If you take in industries like medicine manufacturing industry, where the term Paras is very, very generic. Because, paracetamol, it's a tablet. And the first 6 letters, which is Paras, it's a particular compound. And many of the people use the same name for their tablets or syrups. So what has happened is, over a period of time, that term has become generic in that industry. If you take in cosmetic industry, the term glow, it has become very generic. So it's like you're telling that you're using my product and you're going to glow. So what am I trying to say is, initially when they started using, it was okay, but now it has become very generic. So in the same way, in every industry, there are some of the common terms. There are some of the terms, after a considerable amount of usage, it has become generic. So those generic names will not be registered. So, but how do you find whether a term is generic or not? You yourself, when you go for a trademark search, when you put that particular name, you may end up seeing more than 30, 40 names. That means it is almost generic in that particular industry. The third guideline on not choosing a name is the name should not be deceptive. When I say a name should not be deceptive, you cannot choose a name stating it's a pure silk, 100% organic, or 100% or no preservatives. When you are trying to use such terms for using a brand name, what you're trying to say is you're telling your audience that this is really pure. You cannot convey that kind of brands to your audience where you're telling that I'm offering you this kind of product, which is something called deceptive. Nobody is offering any food or packaged foods are not being done without preservatives. But when you mention no preservative, you're misleading the public against the product that you're using. So these kinds of names have been actually prohibited from being used for choosing a brand name or for choosing a company name. Another important point which I have to point it out is any name which is offensive or immoral or against the public cannot be registered. So when we are trying to use any bad names or any names which create some kind of violence or create some kind of contrary feeling to the public, it cannot be used. For example, let me give you, recently we were trying to register a name. We actually advised our client, they really didn't want to take it up, but finally we got a serious trademark objection in that process. They were trying to use the word like this, F*CK. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to convey some kind of immoral words in a different way. But everything is common. People now know what are all the bad names available in the public. So just like conveying in this way so that you choose to be unique or trendy, this doesn't work. You have to choose a name which is not against the morality or which is not against the public feelings. The prohibited names. The government itself has given you a list of prohibited names which cannot be used. Because there is a common name which is called Balaji. Many are devotees of Vishnu or Balaji, because what happens is, and they start using it for their hospitals or restaurant, and what it has become is, over a period of time, every people start using it. What will happen to the public? They really get deceived, whether this is this company or that company. So what the government has done is, there should be a set of prohibited names which cannot be used because it is most commonly used and you cannot deceive the public using the same name again and again. This is one set of list which every entrepreneur must be aware of. The second one is, there is another list which is called well-known marks. A well-known mark is nothing but any brand which has a global presence, and anybody who come across such brand will definitely know it. For example, you know the brand Sony, you know the brand Apple, you know the brand Philips. So what happens is, these kinds of name, though it is associated with a specific industry, but they cannot be used in any other industry as well. For example, you cannot use a name Sony for a hotel or for a hospital or anything. Actually, it did happen in Kerala that there was a hotel that was named as Sony. So really, when they came to aware of this, and since that particular brand has a well-known mark status, what they did is they chose to file a litigation against that company, that hotel, and they had to stop using that term. So a well-known mark is a mark that cannot be used by anybody else in any other industries. That is called well-known mark. So be aware of the list which is called well-known mark. So the next, last but not least, is similar marks. When you know that already there is someone who is using a name in your industry and they are very popular, you're trying to choose a name which is similar to them, which is called deceptively similar, or you try to choose an identical name, which has a high possibility to get rejected. You have to keep it in mind that how not to choose a trademark rather than how to choose a trademark name. So keep it in mind. In the next video, I'll be highlighting about if you end up choosing these kinds of name, what will be the consequences in your trademark objections. For trademark objections are something that you end up choosing a name without knowing all of these parameters of trademark search. See, in our previous video, we pointed about the trademark search, how it is important. So if you did not see it, please go through the link which is given below. And the second thing is, if you end up choosing a name, as I told you, like deceptively similar mark or any other mark, then what happens is you have a high possibility to get the trademark objections. So when you get the trademark objection, how to handle it and how well you can handle it so that at least you try somehow to get your name registered. But even if your name is getting rejected, you can choose to get it rejected in such a way that you have a right to refile. So if you want to know more, please subscribe to this channel so that in the next video, you'll be able to see how to handle trademark objection. This is Rohini Sri here, your trademark attorney from Lee Intelligential Law Firm.